Tígrií Ricarda, fáilte is mise Eoin a Samuel seo le Niall ó Bite as Irish. Hi Niall, can I start you?
Tá go brag ar maigad, gus tú hain?
Tá me ouser fad, gur míle maithagat. Today we're going to be talking about an Nollag, our Christmas time. As Begmund ag roint cadid na ruddy is fearnin, we'll be sharing what are our most favourite parts of Christmas, including tradition, our own memories, and what we like most about Christmas. Agus tá súla gom nar tátu éiste le seo beidir gohfuil de cuimhní féin ag teachta leisciúd. So when you're listening or watching this, some of your own memories will come back too. So Neil, an céad cuist atá gom airtná. An chuimhne Nollag is fearlat. Cad é an chuimhne Nollag is fearlat? What's your favourite Christmas memory?
Well, an chuimhne Nollag is fearlam sa na Nollag wan blian amháin agus mé óg. So my favourite memory is at Nollag wan, a white Christmas, once when I was young. There must bún le chuimhne, chuoi mé a lí ihe Nollag agus ní raibh aon sneachta ar bith an. Ach nar a bhuascail mé maidin Nollag, bhí brath sneachta ar an talú, bhí sneachta Gach imagine, bhí sé galanta. So if I'm remembering rightly, I went to bed on Christmas Eve and it was a typical mild enough winter's night in Ireland, and I went to bed, there was no snow at all, but when I woke up, there was a whole cloak of white over everything, and of course it was gorgeous. Agus bhí dríocht buinse leis mahurimse. It was kind of magical, bhí dríocht an. So it felt a bit like a fairy tale Christmas. So bhí sin go hálín ar fad.
Stoga nar tátu beag agus tardaín rud mar sin, mar deirtí tá dríocht sin leis. As being the hula or oscailt, do fake and more himpelant. When you're small like that, like it's that magical feeling, isn't it? That everything seems big and wonderful and bright, and you're running around and you can't believe it.
Sinead.
Uncovering that. Oh, well, Neil, just during it, uncovering that Immert Sishnachte, do you remember playing in the snow that year?
An uair sin, no, na cuimhní atá gom bhaineann siad lei sin an mé hain a bheith mar stiltir maidin. Ní ceann le man lá ina dhé sin. So I just remember, what I remember of that now is just that moment of waking up and seeing the snow, but I can't remember. I'm sure we must have gone out and played in the snow and what have you, but funny, I don't remember that. Is tócha an tintas a bhí on the surprise of it. Sin an rud a chuí a bhaim mar that's what really made an impression. Is tócha?
Yeah, so it's a broad arm fit to be fisteru.
Cad futsa.
Yeah.
Well,
it's brand of Mesha. It's our tradition, it's a tradition as well as a memory. So near Erev ma wakis shina Jirak Rugi a mean sauna. As in sin a mean a Nollag being crown again, agus hermit isteach stuck in Nollag, agus hugamer green graph diem a her stuck to ground. So my eldest son, he was born in November. So that his first Christmas, I put him into a Christmas sack for a photo and I held him up as if I was putting him up on the tree. So Tá mu tréisisin in Gach blian, chuile blian nó hin, le me beirtwach. Now, tá siad rómhór gur dul is stocha. So we do that every year now, so far. And they're a bit too big to go into Christmas sack, but I still kind of try to hold the two of them. They're big boys. Agus nílas a gom, tá siad a gar níos mó Gach blian, agus Gach seachtain, nílas a gom cévid Nollag go bhfuil fága a dhéanamh sin, ach tá mé le réile an Nollag se. So I don't know how many more years like that because they're just getting bigger every year, every week. But I'm still going to try this Christmas. They kind of complain, but they kind of like it as well, you know.
And that's a fad. And that's a fad. When they're 40 years old, you'll be holding the two of them up.
Yeah, well, fingers crossed, okay? So, Gurmagad Neil, so Lenny Mudarig, good the Antauron is Fairlet. So, Cade Antauron is Fairlet, Antauron Nollag is Fairlet. What's your favourite Christmas song, Auron?
Well, agus an ceol I gceist bíonn sé Jackar or an Owain around Nuagoni. Is bralam na Pogues now, bhí mé caint fao na Pogues River seo an cheanel seo. Ach an rud a running mé inniu na Christmas Baby Please Come Home, the Darlene Love. So I've always, it's always hard to choose a musical option because there's so many. And I have talked about the Pogues before on this channel, so I'm gonna leave them for today. But I've chosen Christmas Baby Please Come Home by Darlene Love. Is bralam an stíl sin on the Gaeilge, you know, na seascaidí, na girl groups mar thugtar orthu. Phil Spector in a léir hóran sin is dócha. Agus cuireann an tóran sin cua or an cua in and chansiel is dócha. So it's a style, a genre of music I love, the 50s, 60s girl groups, R&B, American groups at that time, and produced by Phil Spector, of course. And it definitely gives me a bit of nostalgia for the old times, even ní raibh mé héin an ag an am sin ach cuireann siad cua orm mar sin héin, even though I wasn't there. It does make me feel that nostalgia for that time. So massam héin go bhfuil cuma an Nollag ar an óran sin. It feels very Christmassy one to me. Sha.
Well, bigger music leis sin ríist.
You must have heard it, I'm sure.
Caithfidh gur bheith. Ach ní an tainnim. I don't recognize the name.
Mm-hmm. It will be on the radio and in shops and so on like that. It is one of the ever-present ones go cinnte.
Okay. So Dumsa, Jeremy, the Pogues, Fairy Tale of New York, as Jeremy came fought. So I'll explain why Fairy Tale of New York, and it's obvious enough. Tá an Chanis seo ann, idir an Mert atá san Éireann. Tá sort dearchadas leis agus sort réalíochas éigean. So there's like a darkness there, a gritty tension between the two singers, kind of who are telling the song, telling the story of the song. And one is slightly more hopeful than the other. Tá dóchas ag an bhar is dólam agus sort dóchas arhíse mas bumachivna. So it's this kind of tension and grit and a little bit of like Irish kind of grittiness to it. I think it's very symbolic maybe of not to be like pulled down and not see the fun in Christmas. It's not about that, but it's about touching on something a bit more real than, you know, a lot of typical songs, especially Ach Go Háirithe na Hauran Nollag, especially the Christmas songs. Cad é the best?
Tan teideal go héintach nach bhfuil like Fairy Tale of New York, mar bíonn a lean fairy tales a gin amsin an Nollag ach na lyricín seo ní fairy tale atá gceiste chordabit sin níos réidalí. It's much more realistic than that. Yeah, so there's real love in it you can feel and real like real feelings, but at the same time there's a lot of disappointment, tadima on, and just life not turning out how you might have expected or wanted possibly. And that's it's still every bit as powerful, I think, though we've heard the song a million times. It's still so powerful, and most Christmas music is presenting the fairy tale image, the dream, which is lovely, but to be confronted with that reality sometimes is very powerful. Stocha.
Yeah, agus tá ceiste go mirt, tá piece of trivia agat gur eile mé ut. You have a piece of trivia about Oro Mavajan that I learned from you. That the melody of this traditional song is used in a Christmas song, okay?
Yeah, Chris de Burgh used it in a spaceman came traveling sin an teidir stocha. It's na seachtaidí. It was a big hit certainly in Britain and Ireland. Níl is agam which a Gaeilge America, aber don't know if it was big in America. But he lifted the melody from O Roma Wadin and used it in the main theme of that song. Yeah, Tashin Fear. And it's a kind of Christmas song of his.
Good jazz. Okay, all right, Lynn. So Ben an Tauron is Fairlin. And Neil, cad é an sconan Nollag is Fairnet. What's your favorite Christmas film or movie?
Well, tá an freigra céine agam gach bliain le ravléin is fithe inis. Go leiscail. Le ravléin is trocha. I will give you the same answer for the last 32 years. I underestimated there and said 22 by mistake. Trocha Dublin. Muppets Christmas Carol. Sin an scanan Nollag is fearlamsa. In our Gach hain agus muidig fast in East Village tóca leis na Muppets go kinse. We always loved the Muppets in our house, and my older brothers and sisters kind of grew up with the earlier incarnations. Ach an scanan seo just tá sé inta granmir, tá na machachain an chamai, tá sé bronach in amana agus duracha in áitina, ach just tá sé cho granmir, tá sé gohintach. Agus tá stíl Dickens an, ní rud é gur achrí siad an stíl agus legan nua, like cé go dachin in si sin limsa chamai in amana, is mailam Scrooged chamai le Bill Murray. So I like the way it keeps the Dickensian feeling. It's quite authentic and Victorian, even though there's Muppets bouncing around the place. And I do like some updated versions of things from time to time. The Bill Murray film Scrooged would be another favourite. Achas bralam na Muppets agus nar a bhí Nollag agam liam hain I London le linn na pandéma. Bhí an scanan seo agam sa teach, so bhí sin go jazz, bhí sé sin just suafnach ag an am sin. So when I was doing Christmas all on my own during the pandemic in London, I had this movie on during the day as I was cooking dinner for myself. So that was nice and comforting. Stocha ar leis sin. Cad fuatsa mar sin? Scanan Nollag is
Tá mé ag géirí cinenne dhéanamh agus teann amháin around me. So I'm trying to be hard on myself and to choose one.
Tá sé Jacker.
Tá sé Jacker. Sugera National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is bralam an scanan sin. I love National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Bhí mé óg galore an chéadúir go bhacha mé chance gur héabáil mé VHS. So there's a good chance that I taped it on VHS when I was a kid off the TV. And I think Masam gur sin an cui go bhacha mé gachbli. So I think that's how I got to know it every year. Ach tá sé píosa áféiseach fecem certain as a botún bioga ann inis trí sé dá mé ag whole minic sin or co-read the shit, so I see little mistakes in it. But as Leonard Cohen says, there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. So Tasha Granor, Mohim Gwil, Tan Sconan on a Granor. Cause if we like Tasha piece of off Asia. It's a bit ridiculous. I guess the Stoga Tan Ahar Chevy Chase. Mohim to sort Godonado Bajer, Martasha ag Trida. So you feel a little sorry for the father, Chevy Chase, because he is trying, but it doesn't always go very well for quite common. So it's Brandon me, August Tá anna good this na línta ólas agam. I know a lot of the lines, so I'm kind of predicting the line coming up by now.
It's féidir lom sa é sin a dhéanana leis na Muppets Christmas Carol. Tá gach líne de glan bheabhar agam. I can quote the whole film off probably for you. Ach National Lampoon is Kivenlum the scanine sin ach Beidir nach Roshi, you know, tepailte oginye. So Neil Kivney Maiha Ogum Orhu Nairira. So I do remember those movies, but I'm not sure if I've seen a full one. But yeah, so I don't know them as well. Maybe that's one I can dig out this year.
Yeah, well, Moname Kukinta, I definitely recommend it.
Good.
So Gramata Shin arriving. So modular Mashikan Bilche Gahalan, Marfekin with Mashikan Nollag, Marhimpler, it's lovely building up the Christmas. We see the Christmas decorations, Mashukan. So Anil, Kade on Mashikan Nollag is Farletza. What's your favorite Christmas decoration?
Caimira gur farlam na sulchi fad. Na sulchi she or an chran Nollag is she sa chach no na sulchi amwi. Even we didn't chach no you know ilara walya aber. So I've chosen the lights, whether it's the fairy lights on the Christmas tree or in decorating your house, or maybe out on the front of your house or in the center of town, something like that. Maar gamian an Nollag Duracha in Erin. And ní rud é go bhfuil amsir an úr a gine goni. Ní bhíonn sé ro úr gomininic bíonn sé Duracha cinse. Bíonn sé níos Duracha an seo in Erin na a bhíonn na stáit intathe aber nó san Europe. So tá sé an Duracha ar fad agus tugan na sultí solas doing agus beidir solas chamai. Because it's so dark in winter time. We don't get very cold here usually, but it's really dark because of the latitude that we're at. So it's a lot darker than it would be in the States or in other parts of Europe, apart from Scandinavia, of course. So something bright in the winter time. It's nice to have that light and give a bit of relief and something happy and nice to see in the midst of the darkness. So Shinafa Arani made na sulchi. That's why I chose the lights. Than Washington. August
yeah, tá an duine a éisian linn atá ó chuig de Alaska ag bécí le an scáil an dearcanis. And grátá sé dearcan seo. So our listener in North Alaska is shouting at the screen or at the earphone saying, "It's dark for me as well." Okay, so Dumsa is Brandon Mashikan a yenin with Sawaya. So I love, homemade decorations. So on Mashikan is fair Dumsa. Well, Imriana on Cam is fair not class a hashbon with Van Kaledum. So my favorite decoration this year is like a decorating trick that my wife showed me. So it's on glass. So Jen to find to picture Dove agus fáin stocha as Grammy to a tevant and inyog. So you get like a line art drawing illustration and you stick it to one side of the window. And then you run inside and go to the other side of the window. So thank you to tevelle den inyog as find to marker at a brain glina. So you have to get a marker that works on glass. So they're available. Tasha they're fine. As then shin Jen to renew then picture a glanions and picture agus is facial at and picture a renew air on linne. So you trace the picture, the image onto the glass, and you don't have to be artistic. Agus find to picture on an air linne is facial at picture. Yes, come the Kalogushnachta, new the crown Nollag, you can like do snowflakes or Christmas trees or whatever it is. So I really like that. quite creative, bhí sé cruthaíoch, is brano mission. Agus is brano maiisián déanta achs like pápéir data, mar bheith cuileann déanta as pápéir data. So I love just arts and crafts, I love. So I love what homemade decorations made from like card or paper, colored paper. So, for example, holly made from bright colored paper. I love that. So, controversial division, Neil.
Tá sin inta symbol. Yeah, is mailam sin maisechan déanta sáile ní dhéanam hain é sin ach beidir gur bhailam. So I do like those homemade decorations too, and I'm not in the habit of doing it, but maybe I'll get into it. Is dócha could white and crack go in leis an Nollag na a bheith súil leis an Nollag agus an tulbhacha na dhéanamh don Nollag. So a bheith ag geanú na maisechan seo, tá sin, hat's sin gomórlam is dócha. So I reckon part of Christmas is always the anticipation, isn't it? So preparing things and making things like this by hand sounds like a nice way to have that feeling. So maybe Satoshi, maybe I'll get into that myself.
Yeah, go on. So bogey right, we'll move on. So Cad an lá is fair lat. I'm sure not. So what's your favorite day during the Christmas period?
Well, an lá is fearliamsa na Oiche Nollag. Mar a dúirt méid déireach an sin is mailim a bheith ag súil leis an Nollag le rudaí a bheith ag titm amach na rudaí atá le teacht is dócha. So being an atmosphere jazz Oiche Nollag. So as I just said, I like the anticipation, really. So I've chosen Christmas Eve, Oiche Nollag, because you're waiting. Nach mín tú ag fannacht an sin. Agus nuair tá tú óg bín tú ag fannacht le dadí na Nollag agus na brontaine seir fad ach. Agus tú fasta just tá tú ag fannacht leis an lá hain is dócha. Ach tá an dríocht sin fós son más an hain. So as a kid, you're waiting, looking forward to the presents. As an adult, it's more just about the whole day and seeing people. But it's still got a bit of that magic, I think, that sense of, ní féidir am fannacht, I can't wait. So sin an fa a dat ní an Oiche Nollag lumpsa. That's why I like Christmas Eve. Ach, cad fuatsa?
Ein téim let, I agree. Is lá Oiche Nollag an lá is fearliam agus dus tradiisiún gom háirte sin chomá ach go háirithe casam ar cárde, casam muid le mo chlán ar cárde gach Oiche Nollag agus san áit chéine gach bliain tagam muid le chéile pe duine féidir go teacht. So my favorite day too, Christmas Eve. It's very social. We have this tradition with my family that we gather with our friends and we gather in the same place every year. So it's very social that way. And then, an sin, nuair tá Oiche ann ciúnaíonn gachard as tá certain cuteness sin. Tá sé suúbnach as is brand am an mugán sin. So everything kind of calms down and it becomes more calm, suúbnach. Is brand am an focal sin suúbness. So it becomes nice and calm and gently calm. Oiche ciúin sin é. Will tú le canna?
Oh, níl na focal agam an seo. So Oiche ciúin is Silent Night as Gaeilge a charge. So that's one of the old Christmas carols that is translated into Irish as well. Oiche ciúin. Very much the atmosphere.
Okay, well, má canna me brisig na glini. I shall art if I sing it the glass will break as it goes too high. Okay. So sin an lá is fearlin, agus is bugger roig rud tábhachtach faoin Nollag an bia Nollag is fearle. So moving on, and one of the most important things is, Neil, what's your favourite Christmas food?
We will is Jacker is bralam an bia go general the Gach den vlian. Ach bia Nollag is toch an bia is special to dus am sin an Nollag na an Cacha Nollag. Maar go mian mawami ag Bacail agus jenin si caci domsa agus de dini elis a chawlach agus Anchina wine in London agus dini mar sin. So go hairihe nar a bhí mé in Machoni in London hagad buska sa fust major, galua in mína Nollag agus buska mór agus clúdach agus caca istí agus cúpla rud eile beidir stocky chamai rudí Nollagúil agus rudí den Yevra. So I always associated especially with this kind of care package I would get from my mum when I was living in London. She would send a big box of stuff, and the cake being the biggest one, but a few like treats and winter socks and things like that in there too. Agus ní mis an tain in a fuair an buska shop. It was also my auntie in London and a few other members of the family who were further away from home and couldn't get some of the more Irish treats, chocolates and things like that. So bhí sé gahali na gcónaí an caca seo a rin mawami a aisle agus mé in Machoni in London. Always lovely to get that homemade, your mum's Christmas cake when I was over in London. Agus it just a fuair o mechan wahar. So tan tijes sa chawlach mar sin. It is a recipe she got from her own mother, my granny. So it's in the family. Caca tradition to turhi, the traditional fruit cake, na Nollag. And it's not everyone's favorite, but I really have strong associations with my mom especially, but with the whole family because we all love it. And it goes back to my grandmother too. So sin an bia Nollag is fear liomsa a cad fud hain, Eoin.
Oh yeah. Well, my féin, so bhhailm cup an té ó leis an Gach and Nollag sin. Oh yeah. My féin tá mé an seafood diet. I see food and I eat it. I'm on the seafood diet. I see food and I eat it. Yeah, no.
Joke daddy and sin.
So sinné tá mé goscailt na crackery. So an bia is fearr liom. Nollag ná bachlóga bhrishéile. So I love Brussels sprouts. So leo féin ní dóilm gofuil mar an blasar. Má him gofuil maithas antú. That's good. So on their own, I don't get too much nice taste from them, but they feel like they're good for me. I'm sure they are. An rud specialty dumsa ná nuair a churm blas breise leis. So galore imma agus píosa mala fiú. Like an extra piece of building minish as this brand shit. So for me, what makes them lovely is the added flavors. Plenty of butter, and to make them a little sweet as well, with a bit of honey, honey. It's that combination of like it's the bitterness, I guess, of the Brussels sprouts, and then the added taste. And as we say, Neil, chuma, isma and tannin and tuckers. So hunger is a good sauce as well, so it all adds up. So, but surely by Christmas dinner time, I've eaten so many chocolates. Milan and chocolate. I'm full of chocolate, so there's not much on tuckers. Yeah, it's kind of the best, Neil.
Bíonn daoine a bhruchu le bagun chamai. People fry them with bacon as well, like little bacon lardons or something like that too, if you eat meat, if you eat pork. So tashid, bachlóga, tashid an intajas. Is bralam hain Gach cinneal bia caithmira. So na glassery, na prati roasta, and turkey and leawas. I'm a hen sastal I do love all kinds of food really. So turkey, we don't have Thanksgiving in Ireland, so really for me turkey is one day a year or a couple of days a year, but it's just lá Nollag agus lá Stefan. So the other things like the ham and roast potatoes and everything, the stuffing, is brala me sin fad. Agus dinner special tar mar can mawami and dinner fuss. Agus vi in dinner Nollag agam shahas blian awine in London, vi Gach dinner Nollag ella agam sa chishtin chena sa shomra chena. All the other, apart from that 1 year in London, all the other Christmas dinners of my life were in that one kitchen cooked by the same woman with a little bit of help from other people, but not so much. So, yeah, ta mig sul go mór leis sin nes again couple of shachtan. Really looking forward to that.
Tá sé go hádan is leistáin le currency and frinneh isteach I Nollag álan a chruthú de clown mar hímpel is
well, it's brala mawami in Nollag, it's brala hi in Nollag. Agus couple of riven fandom vi si an osagin is a hort gotí an Yerman a gotí an oster riven Nollag chun na marigi Nollag a ecail. Sin rud jazz. Níl si ní arnamid é sin le tamal an ish, vi si sin ain't jazz. She does love Christmas, so we had a bit of a tradition of taking her over to Germany or Austria every year before Christmas to see the wonderful Christmas markets they have over there. So my mum loved that too. But we haven't been since the pandemic now, so maybe we should start that again.
So a kind of tradition. So shot and Kim, so this is my last question, talking about traditions. So again, had tradition Nollag is fair. That's what's your favorite Christmas tradition?
Cha, rugby me tradition that has size person to agus beidir nach marry and tradition show. I chose one that's more personal and maybe it's not something that will last a lot longer. Maar gohfuil ma jarracher in a choni I Gach en nek leis an teach inar tógam muidne agus tá ma jarracher poste agus tá tlanige. So my brother's living in a house next door to where we grew up. He's married and he's got kids. So since they moved in there, and tradition a bhín agam sa Majin Nollag na airy breakfast ihe agus an sin dulcis gaji and chach shin. So my tradition just kind of naturally evolved of getting up on Christmas morning and then have your breakfast and things like that, and then just pop down to my brother's house because his girls ta capper ininacha ige. Got 4 daughters, and because na ravi siad og fin crack go hintach, and it was a great, Christmas is better with kids, isn't it? So it was really good fun to go down and hang out with them when they were all going crazy. We should crack Gaeilge agus na pajamas céine orthú agus mar sin. Ach tá siad ag éirí níos sinne inis, tá siad cinneal fasta inis. There's still one teenager in the house, but they're all a bit older, most of them in their 20s, but they all still love coming home for Christmas and they love being at home. Agus tá siad fós crack Gaeilge chumai, they're still crazy, possibly níos crack Gaeilge na mar a bhí. So being a crack fós chumai, but they're not in the little kid stage anymore. So it was lovely to be able to have Christmas morning with my nieces and them really enjoying that. So sin tradition atá agam le rins blianta agus beidir go nachróise sin a mahan seo. So tradition I've had for a number of years, and maybe it will change in coming years too as people. I mean, one of those girls is married now, so people will be making their own traditions as happens. So sin rud a bhí atá agus a bhí special to do. So cad fuatsa an sin ón go dtéan tradition Nollag is fear latsa.
So dumsa trísh godorlín gachard has been an bia agus stiff sóisialta, am sóisialta is the sort am, the sort spás le ciniú ríist. Agus is bragam don amach go dtí an ggósta. Ag siúil ar an trá. So when everything's, done and dusted, after Christmas, there's a bit of a lull. There's space to just, go somewhere, rest a bit. And I love going to the coast, Macadine Coast. Is brandam siúil ar an trá, as gomininic bin sé fuair, fluch, guifer, níro as a bit and my own. Dúshin sé me. So I love going out to the beach. I'm talking probably the west coast of County Clare would be the accessible base for me. So Dúshin sé me, it wakes me up. And even though it's cold and probably wet and windy and not great to be out in it, it just wakes me up. So I love doing that. Talking with the Madrid, we bring the dogs with us, and just everyone gets a bit of air. So it's a lovely tradition. And yeah, it's that mix. It's been really nice going through all these different things. Neil, a gachard and piece of sóisialta, as ag siúil le an Nollag ag teacht, as an sin na cuimhní is tradition na tágain, as na daoine tábhachtacha in our sale, the important people in our lives, and what they bring to Christmas. So the people listening to this, Neil, either they're listening at the podcast or watching on YouTube. So it depends where you're watching or listening to this, but it'd be lovely to hear your traditions. Cadi na rudies fearliata. What are your favorite things about Christmas on Nollag? So what you can do is, if you're on YouTube, leave a comment, or if you're listening to the podcast, I would suggest finding this episode on the Bite Size Irish website, where you can leave a comment too. And it's lovely to share a bit of what makes Christmas special for you. So Neil connoisseur an córa seo agus cadidir bháile a raig an téir agus mud ag críoch níis.
Ba sé galanta garrod in sin a chléistáil. Lovely to hear everything. Agus rud a chuirigh smaoinmh mé na an tradition sin atá go dul go dtí an trá. Made me think about going to the beach, because níl aon nas gogam sa idir an trá agus an Nollag, mar as tíróan mé agus níl trá ar bíogin. So I never associate the beach with Christmas. Ach, tá óra na bhain eile an, agus óra an éireannach atá an Arthur McBride. Agus béid go bhfuil an tóran searólas ag na héistóí ag na loféiceanna. So maybe some of our listeners and viewers would know this song, Arthur McBride, but it's been covered by Bob Dylan, but Paul Brady did the absolute best version. But it's not a very Christmassy theme in the song. It's about two lads who get into trouble because a British Army officer tries to recruit them in the 1800s or something like that. And they're out for a walk on Christmas morning on the beach. And it ends up badly for some of the characters above, no spoilers. But tá fisean jazz ar YouTube because his féidir féhinse. So sin tradition nua tá gom chamai. It's my an féhinse in nishan sin Imagine Nollag chamai. It's not the most Christmassy of themes. It's more of a political anti-recruiting song, but it does include the line "it being a Christmas morning." So it made me think of Arthur McBride there. So I'll be shooting the
chest. So Neil, gur míle maith agat agus bíodh Nollag all in a gut.
Agus a gut. Nollag chuna gat denne?
Nollag chuna, slán.